Getting into this in-progress match, losers finals for today's tournament, starting a little bit late. I ended the stream prematurely. That's my fault. But here's losers finals between the Glowwater Thralls and Moonshine Moth Mixup. Red team, I believe, had a Kira, captain of the Alien Dragonfly, disconnect, which causes them to lose that first fight. Meaning 2 points already on the board for Triple M. Timer currently paused due to that disconnection. And it looks like Kira is not actually back, so this could go bad for the Glowwater Thralls. However, we're going to take a look at these loadouts first, and you see Scrimscraw making his return to competitive Guns of Icarus, flying the Aesir, the dual Gatling mortar module with the left side light carronade and a right side flamethrower. Scrimscraw, one of the pioneers, the Glowwater Thralls in particular, one of the pioneers of this brawl style of mobula. Back in 2013, 2014, the golden age of competitive play. And their ally with the disconnected captain, AI Chara, currently flying the ship. We have the Alien Dragonfly with dual Gat Hwachos. It's a Shrike. We've seen a lot of it, although usually Kira is piloting it and not an AI engineer. Their opponents, Moonshine Moth Mixup, bringing the Moonlight Moth, Junker with the left side Mine Launcher Banshee Artemis, the left side Gatling Artemis, and their ally, the Protoss Tip Box, Gatling Artemis Pyramidian with light flak, and a Mine Launcher. Now, one thing I am a little bit curious about is this matchup between a Brawl Mobula and a Junker. Brawl Mobula don't see too often. The main advantage of this ship over an equivalent Pyramidian, Gatling Mortar Pyramidian, is they do have access to that second Gatling gun, giving them effectively double the armor stripping power. The other advantage of this build is that you do have good vertical acceleration, which you can use to approach a target in different ways that a Pyramidian cannot. Pyramidian, very good at charging forward and backwards, and also has the benefit of being able to ram a target, has a little bit more whole armor and mass. But the Mobula has the advantage of that vertical acceleration, so despite the fact that it uses similar guns, does operate a little bit differently on a little bit different movement vectors than the Pyramidian does. But along with the Gatling Mortar Pyramidian, the Brawl Mobula, we don't see very often in competitive play. One of the big problems with the Mobula is it does have a very, well, it's squishy, but it also has a very exposed whole hitbox. This entire top half of the ship, this is a unique quality of the Mobula. The entire top side of the ship is whole armor hitbox, which makes it very easy to hit downward angles with guns. It can't really balloon block in a way that any other ship can, which makes it very squishy. Alien Dragonfly, just out in the middle of the map. I'm not quite sure if Glowwater Thralls are taking this seriously. I mean, they did lose their pilot. Aesir currently just totally motionless. Either that's possible that they're trying to distract their opponents, turn them around for the Mobula to move in, but I think if that were the case, the Mobula probably would have moved by now. And the Shrike goes down, Aesir still sitting in place. Kira has now rejoined, so I'm curious at what point. I'm not sure at what point Kira did rejoin the game, but it was certainly not at the start of that fight. Or they wouldn't have thrown the Shrike away that handily. Watch this quality Mobula piloting. Look at them descend down slightly. Maintain their coordinate position. So majestic. Let's see if the Glowwater Thralls decide to do something now that they have all their players. There's this cloud here that's currently blocking their position, blocking visibility of their position, which they could have used to move forward, but they are electing to not do that. Pyramidion is spotted. Both teams really kitted out for close range, so we'll see how they want to kick this off. Blue does have access to the Artemis with which I'm gonna double check the Aesir. Yeah, Aesir is exclusively close range. Sometimes you see a Brawl Mobula with some upper deck Artemis just to kind of split the difference a little bit, giving them a little bit of damage on approach. In this case, opting not to, so in a sort of a medium long range engagement like this, blue team is going to have 3 Artemis to work with. And now here we go, Alien Dragonfly charging in. They've got the rear, watch a connection on the Protoss tip box. While the Aesir moves in, Protoss tip box, armor is down, mortar shots connecting. Big damage, armor just rebuilt in just the nick of time, but they're not going to be able to survive versus the dual Gatling. They need Artemis connections. One Gatling is down, the mortar is down as well. I think this is going to be it. I think Pyramidion's going to hit the terrain and die. Armor was up, so they don't die yet, but mortar able to finish them off, and now the Moonlight Moth, perhaps going to be the second victim of this forward charge from the Glowwater Thralls. Junker has a lot of armor, but 3 Gatlings and a Watch, a huge connection on the Junker. Balloon is down, armor is down, mortar shots. Where are the mortar shots? There they are. Junker goes down. Quick, clean 2 points on the board for the Thralls. Triple M not prepared for that charge. The Aesir was just sitting behind cover, building up their power. And then they let it go. Now, this is Clash at Black Cliff, so there are a lot of spawns that blue team can utilize here. There's one right near the red team's position, the western spawn. It's around this spike sticking out of the ground. There's also a far east spawn if Moonlight Moth Mixup wants a little bit more distance, but no, instead they're using this west spawn here behind the terrain. Now, what we probably need to see, we need to see Protoss Tipbox ram that Mobula, probably is Moonlight Moth's best option. They're a little bit low on kill power. But, oh wow, Protoss Tipbox, they tried to do what I suggested and just got blown out of the sky. I was checking the Moonlight Moth's close range guns. Mine Launcher Banshee. Mine Launcher going to be difficult to use against with the Alien Dragonfly constantly riding their tail. So close range firepower for the Moonlight Moth is not going to equal that of the Mobula. They're just going to get out damaged at close range. And look at that, another big Hwacha connection. Moonlight Moth, only 2 engines up. They're going to try to escape, but you have 3 Gatlings picking out their hole. Also the balloon, and now Protoss tip box has spawned back in. Moonlight Moth taking permanent damage. They're dropping down because of the balloon, but also probably trying to balloon block a little bit. You see a mine launcher coming out as well. Mobula might hit these mines. Yes, bounces them back up, saves the Moonlight Moth. Finally, the mine launcher coming into effect. While the Alien Dragonfly splits off for the Protoss tip box. Alien Dragonfly losing their hull armor as they're getting the rear of the Protoss tip box, but staying high enough that Artemis can't hit them as the Pyramidion reverses away. Now, switching back to the Junker. That's not Junker. Switching back to the Junker. Still trying to balloon block here. Another great mine hit. But the problem is the mine's also going to prevent them from, it's going to make it a little bit difficult for them to rise up as well. And I think they're just trying to stay alive, and they may have done it. Mobula might be fully disengaging here, or at least putting a little bit more distance between them. But honestly, I'd like to see Moonlight Moth back up into a more reasonable Artemis range where they can outrange that mortar. Because if they get out of mortar range, the Aesir can't really do anything. But if they can back up, switch the close range side, put out a couple mines, they can maybe win this fight. But it looks like they're going to be staying on their Artemis side instead. And I don't know if they're going to be able to win this fight against the dual Gatling. Yeah, look at those. The mortar shot already hitting 2 shots, 3 shots. 4th point on the board. Glowwater Thralls just dominating Triple M in these last 2 fights. Now, Protoss Tipbox, Alien Dragonfly, neither one of them really able to do much damage to each other. Alien Dragonfly with that reduced explosive damage from the Hwacha has been doing a good job keeping the Pyramidion locked down, but not a good enough job to kill them. And with the Mobula coming back, spawn from Moonlight Moth. I was going to say Aesir moving towards the fight between the Shrike and the Pyramidion, but Moonlight Moth spawns in their presence. I think they're it's gonna be a race. It's gonna be an Indy 500 as the Mobula running from this junker. Now this is that exposed Mobula hitbox I was talking about earlier. A few Artemis connections, but Mobula rises up, gets above the Artemis arc, so only about 30% permanent damage for the Aesir. And now they've managed to zone out the Moonlight Moth and get angles on the Protoss Tipbox. This is a great position for Mobula. Alien Dragonfly disengages, Protoss Tipbox drops behind terrain, and the Moonlight Moth rejoins them. A moment's reprieve for both teams, split by the big spike. Is now dual Gatlings engaging the Pyramidion, eviscerating that armor, forcing them to back away. Utilizing that terrain to be able to block the follow-up damage once the armor goes down. As Alien Dragonfly keeps a very far position. They're playing this very safe. But also they're heavily relying on the Mobula to be able to do the brunt of the work here. And I don't know if Aesir is going to be able to 1v2, especially given how low their health has gone. Alien Dragonfly is going to have to find an opportunity to move in. And I think this might be it. They're going to get once again for the Pyramidion. Well, the Moonlight Moth rams the Mobula, smashing them into the ground, and now it's a tie game. Alien Dragonfly probably has to disengage, because with those nerfed Hwachas, they're not going to be able to get this kill. And Artemis is going to start taking down their engines. Already one engine just rebuilt. If they go down, that's game. The armor's low. Artemis shot might be connecting here. Armor rebuilt again. I'm going to zoom in. Let's see how many. We've got 3 people on the armor and the engines. So if anyone can do it, it is the Glowwater Thralls. They know how to play this Shrike. But this is tough. Artemis connection. They're so low. Next, Artemis could finish them off. They're having so much difficulty, and engines are down. Armor's rebuilt again. They're being Gatling down. Gatling going to be able to finish them off. And unfortunately for the Glowwater Thralls, losing Kira, their Shrike pilot at the beginning of the match, giving up those first 2 points. Those are rough beats. However, Moonlight Moth Mixup definitively won that last engagement. The Shrike just not in a position to support their ally. They came in way too late and let the Junker rack up too much damage on the Mobula. So that means Triple M going to be moving on to the Grand Finals to play against the Pomelos.